to HNI's news channel. Today we'll be interviewing a Jewish American about their time spent in World War II and some of the many hardships and opportunities they had during the time. And one of the many hardships Jewish Americans faced was discrimination, because not a lot of them were in the country. There was only about 550,000 Jewish Americans in the U.S. at the time. And they faced discrimination by Americans and by many other people that lived in America. And one of the many other hardships Jewish Americans faced was not being allowed food, shelter, or anything like that, because the Great Depression was still going on at the time and they were immigrants. And one of the many other hardships Jewish Americans faced was not being allowed out of Germany into the U.S. because many laws preventing the Jewish Americans out of the country, and many laws also not preventing them come in the country because USA didn't want many immigrants at the time. And then one of the last hardships I'm going to talk about is many of their family was stuck in Germany, stuck in concentration camps, and not being allowed to even step foot out of the country. But on that note, many Jewish Americans also had plenty of opportunities in the U.S. if they were able to make it out of the country. And one of the many opportunities they had was to serve in the war and serve in the military to help get their families back, help people just get out of the country and save them. And one of the many other opportunities they had was they were allowed schooling, allowed into colleges, getting them better lives for themselves in the USA. And one of the last opportunities I'm gonna have to say is they were able to have their religion under the First Amendment, still able to keep their religion, able to help them out. And on that note, I'm gonna send it off to Izzy for an interview with another Jewish American.
3, 2.
Thank you, Hayden, for passing on to me. I'm here with the Jewish American. Who are we with here today?
My name's Nate. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Nate. So I have a couple questions. As a Jewish American, did you ever face any discrimination?
Yeah, I'd say we did. Nothing like the Jewish Europeans, though. There was still anti-Semitism in the Americas. Anti-Semitism is essentially the hatred and prejudice towards Jewish people. Now, there were these organizations in the news which would pump the news full of hatred-filled PSAs and news articles and cartoons, but that would depict Jewish people as like greedy for money or something like that. And then there were these gangs in popular cities like Boston, New York, which would jump the Jewish people just because of their religion.
Oh, okay. Were any of your relatives stuck in Germany and couldn't leave the country or had to be in a concentration camp?
Yeah, my cousin was actually. He was, we couldn't actually help them. We couldn't send food to them, we couldn't send clothes, we couldn't do anything. After the war, I did see his daughter again, but I didn't see him after that.
Oh. What were the reactions of the Jewish Americans when they saw their fellow Jewish people in a concentration camp in Germany after World War II?
We were enraged. We despised the government. While they were preoccupied with the war and defeating Nazism, they did not care about our people at that time. We were not a priority to that government. It was just a really bad time.
The 1942 U.S. quote law set a limit of 26,000 immigration visas for people born in Germany. In 1933, the State Department issued visas to only 1,241 Germans. How did you feel about the government at that time?
I despise the government for that. However, I do understand now that it was a tactical decision, and there was definitely a better way to do this. And they learned right day one that there were these systematic killings of Jews. There was like the genocide, the gas chambers, but they didn't care about that. They only cared about defeating Nazism. They didn't actually care about the Jewish people. They didn't actually set any laws either until about 10 years later. So, yeah.
Okay, Nate, well that's all I have for you, so now I'm gonna pass it back to Hayden.
Thank you, Izzy, for being a big help in interviewing the Jewish American. That'll be it for the news channel. I'm sending it off from Marinette, Wisconsin.